So right now the job market is absolutely horrible. I've applied to over 1,000 jobs. Made accounts for a whole bunch of different things. Still no job. I've gotten quite a few offers for $40,000 in the city, which is insanity. No. I've also applied to, well, sending emails, cold calling, whatever you want. But I've noticed that a lot of times if you apply through temp agencies, they actually do get back to you, whether that be a rejection or not. But temp agencies do work. I just wanted to give someone out there that information because maybe it'll help you.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Man, I swear temp agencies have you working the most terrible jobs imaginable. I remember like 10 years ago, I was working at a garbage dump, picking up garbage. The most degrading job I've ever had in my life. I'm at this garbage dump out in the middle of nowhere, picking up garbage that flew off the dump. It's me and some other dude that I guess was just as broke as me at the time. We out there picking up garbage, and I looked at him. He was sitting there eating a sandwich, and I said, "Hey, what are we doing? Why are we at a garbage dump picking up garbage? Are you serious?" He like, "Man, I'm broke." I'm like, "Nah, put that damn sandwich down. Put that sandwich down, and we getting the hell up out of here. We the only two people at this whole dump picking up garbage." He like, "But no, I don't care. We leaving."
If you've applied to hundreds of jobs in 2024 and you're not getting any callbacks or interviews, I want to give you two other sources to get in front of employers that I think will help you. Now, the first one is going to be temp agencies. If you've never looked into temp agencies before, a lot of people have a negative impression of them. And a lot of times that's an old impression. I'll tell you what I mean. So if you call local temp agencies in your areas, make an appointment to go in. They're going to ask you to bring a copy of your resume. They'll go through your resume, look at your skills, ask you what you'd like to do, what you've done in the past, etc. It's kind of like a short interview. Then they will look in their system and see if there are employers that they can place you with. Now, when people hear temp agency, they might be thinking that this is going to be a really short duration thing. A lot of times these can be 3 to 6 month gigs that turn into permanent gigs, and I'll tell you how to do that. So the 3 to 6 month gigs that happen with most temp agencies are often because somebody is out on a medical leave, out on a pregnancy leave, or they had a baby, or they maybe have a health issue. You know, there's a number of things that can go on. They even have at times high-level people that need to go out for an assignment to another site and they need backfill. So when you apply through temp agencies, the employer is going to have to pay the temp agencies guys your salary at 1.5 to be able to employ you. So it's more expensive for them to hire a temp than it is a normal employee. So if you get placed with a temp agency, what I want you to do is from the moment that you get in the door at that placement, I want you to network your butt off. I want you to talk to everybody, integrate yourself into the office culture, become super well liked, and work as hard as you can and step in to take anything additional that they'll give you. Now, remember, I said that it's going to be time and a half to be able to pay you what they would pay for somebody normally in this role. The employer can feel that, believe me. So a good strategy is within 60 to 90 days of starting the role is to schedule a meeting with the hiring manager that you want to talk to. Say, "Hey, Bob, can I get some time on your calendar tomorrow afternoon? There's something I want to go over with you and have a quick sit down." So make it a real meeting. Go in and sit down with them and say, "Hey, you know, I really love everybody working here. I'm wondering if there's a way that we might be able to make this role or another role that you guys have open permanent for me so that I can stay." And you say, you know, and the pressure right there for them might be, "Well, I don't know." And if you start to get anything other than "yeah, I think we might be able to do that," then what I would tell you to do is say, "Please think about it and get back to me next week and see if there's a way that we could do that, because I'd really like to stay here long term. So that's a great way to transition. Like I said, work yourself the best you can to do a great job for them, to be able to integrate yourself as part of the culture. That way it's more natural to transition you into a permanent role if they have that available, or they create that for you. So if they have somebody coming back from a medical or other leave, they might think, well, they're doing this for us, but we really, could think about hiring them over here. And the problem with most people that come from temp agencies is the mindset is off. So they're in there and they're thinking, oh, I'm just a temp. I don't really need to get to know anybody here. I just kind of work my 8 and go. And I think it's a huge mistake for being able to get in. So contact your local temp agencies by Googling them, apply to all of them that you can find. And if you think, oh, I don't want to temp or I don't want to do anything, if you're sitting there applying over and over and over again on LinkedIn, Indeed, Hot Jobs, anything that you can think of, ZipRecruiter, then I guarantee already you're frustrated by having to enter your same info over and over. And going for a quick temp interview and seeing you can get a temp job and some money coming in might be the way to go. Second thing is something that I mentioned in another video, but I'll give it this way as well, is if you Google job fairs near me. Now, again, people have a negative impression of some job fairs, but going to job fairs, a lot of them, especially in the tech spaces that are around everywhere, these people are hiring a lot of folks. And the reason that these employers are at that job fair and spending their time and resources and having people out of the office is because they actually do want to be able to get some hires. So take your resumes, dress all the way up, go to all the local job fairs you can find. If you Google them and you can't really find any in your area, also check out Eventbrite, like BRITE.com. They've got job fairs on there and career fairs for all different types of industries. And I'll put that down in the chat here as well. So I hope these things help. The reason that I'm making this video is just, I have been there, guys. I have been on the other side of sitting there and just doing hundreds of applications every month and not getting a call back right away. I know how frustrating that can be. So check out temp agencies. Check out job fairs. They're just other ways that you can get in front of people. And also, if you're applying, again, just to get a point from another video, also try to contact the hiring managers if their name is in LinkedIn or is in Indeed when they post the job ad. Anything that you can do right now to be able to get a job in this tough market. I hope these things help. If you guys have other ideas for people that are looking and are just sick of applying over and over and over, please put them in the comments down below. We'll try to help as many people as we can. We'll see you in the next one.
A temp agency is a company whose sole purpose is to make sure people get jobs. They don't get paid unless people get placed. Awesome. I used temp agencies when I was a secretary. Like, most of my classes were night classes in college after my freshman year. If I was smart, I would have joined the temp agency and was a secretary while I was in college, because that would have been genius. But right after college, I got laid off from my first big girl job, which I was an executive assistant. And I joined a temp agency and I got another executive assistant position, which was pretty cool. I also got a temp placement at a bookstore on a college campus one time. I was like, but their main goal is to help people find jobs. They don't get paid unless you get paid. But be careful, because some of them will ghost you. I recently had a temp agency ghost me. I went through the entire process, the interviews for a position, and it's kind of icky. But make sure you go for contract to hire position. I hate looking for my next contract. I never want to be looking for my next contract. But contract to hire means, oh, you'll start out as a contractor, and then after a year, they'll hire you. That's how I got the job that I have in tech. I started off as a data steward. That was my contract position. And then after a year, I became an IT business analyst. And so it's 9 years later, I'm still in the job. I started off at $25,000 a year, which wasn't a lot back in 2014, but it was more than I was making as a flight attendant at the time. So I took it, and after my raise from being a contractor to an actual employee for the company that I was contracted in, I got paid more money significantly and eventually worked my way up. I'm still an IT business analyst, but I went from data steward, associate business analyst to business analyst. And I don't have a tech degree. I had no certifications. I didn't even know what a business analyst was. I was just looking for a job. And the temp agency was like, you'd be great for this job. You have a background in communications and you know how to work a computer. I'd say that it was a great fit, now looking back at it.
I have applied to 77 jobs and got one interview. Good news! I got a job, which I am thrilled about. Of course, it's less pay and less hours than I would have wanted, but I am so thrilled to have a job, I don't even care. But the problem is, it was after I applied to literally 640 jobs, and it wasn't even one of the jobs I applied to. I literally found it through a temp agency. So, like, it's ridiculous. And my points from the video that I just stitched are still relevant. It's just unfathomable to me that I applied to 640 jobs and couldn't even find a job on my own. Like, I still would have been applying. I probably would have hit 700, maybe more, if I hadn't stopped applying a week and a half ago when I got the job. Like, it's crazy.
Y'all, so I know it ain't just me, right? Y'all know how a few years ago y'all done went to one of the little temp agencies in y'all area trying to get a job. Y'all do the application, do all the tests, everything. They say they got positions available. Once you complete all that, then they say, oh, we'll call you when we get some. Okay, they don't never call you. 4, 5, 6 years pass by. Here they come calling and texting your damn phone talking about they got a position available. Baby, I needed that job 4, 5, 6 years ago. I don't need no job with y'all no more. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, so this video has generated a lot of dialogue, which is great, but there are some disparaging remarks being made about recruiting companies that I just want to clear up. So if you were to just see this and think, oh, the company's making $30 an hour, but the actual person doing the work is only making $11 an hour, that's a huge difference. And what you're not taking into consideration is the burden that the recruiting company holds for employing the factory worker. So the factory will go to a recruiting company and say, we need to find a worker. And it's usually not just one worker. If you're going to be doing light industrial work, they are typically like, we need 25 people to report here on Monday, and you have 5 days to fill these positions. So a recruiting company, sometimes called a temp agency, although I hate that term, will mass look for applicants. They a lot of times will assume the financial burden of running their drug and background check for every single person. And then usually in a light industrial situation, they will overhire because many of these people don't show up to work on the first day. Or they will call in because their grandma died. Or they will call in because their car broke down. There are a million unfortunate things, sometimes true, sometimes untrue, that prevent somebody at this level of employment to not show up. So now you have a recruiting company that has paid for 30 drug and background checks, and only 20 of those people actually show up to work. So this is where you get the term standard burden rate. And I don't really know on margins of light industrial because I never really recruited in that industry, but in tech, it's usually about a 25% burden rate. And that burden rate means we need this margin to not only cover paying the recruiter, keeping our lights on, paying for the systems that found these people, pay for the drug tests, background checks, but it also includes the cost of keeping this person employed. Because once somebody is working at the factory, their W-2 does not say factory, it says recruiting company. And when you are a W-2 employee of the recruiting company has the burden of paying the unemployment tax, of paying payroll taxes, of doing all the administrative work that they would do for any other employee. This is a huge burden off of the factory. That's why they are willing to pay $30 for someone who ends up making $11 an hour. Another thing, if you are the contractor making $11 an hour and you are working for a good recruiting company, then that means they are going to make sure that they are looking out for other jobs for you before your contract with the factory ends, because it is in the recruiter's best interest to keep you continuously employed because you are making money for them every single hour that you work. So if it is a 6-month contract situation with the factory and you're getting to the 5-month mark, if you have a good relationship with your recruiter, they should start be they should already be looking for other opportunities for you. They should be sending you out on other interviews. They should be saying, send me your resume with this job added on it. I'll make sure you get another job. People who have good experiences with recruiters are typically continuously employed and oftentimes will make more money each job that they work at. So we're not all grifters, is what I'm trying to say.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Bro, look, we need employees, man. You want to come work for us? Yeah, well, what job I'm going to be doing? All of them. But we're going to pay you for one. I get a lot of money. You get some money. How much you think it is up to you. What about benefits? We're going to pay you every 2 weeks. Ain't that good? That's amazing, ain't it? That's some tight shit, ain't it?
If you're a new grad or you're in college right now and you're struggling to find internships or just a job really to get, to help you get your foot in the door and to start building your resume, my advice to you would be to not sleep on those temp agencies, okay? During my 4 years in college, I was pursuing my bachelor's of science in applied mathematics, and I was not able to, obtain an internship during all those 4 years. And I did everything by the book. I attended all those workshops. I applied to numerous, internships, whether it was with Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, EY. I did everything by the book, and I was still unsuccessful. I know that you must be thinking, oh, applied mathematics degree, you must want it to be a teacher. No, I did not want to be a teacher. I did not know what I wanted to do with my degree at the time, but I knew for a fact that I did not want to teach. And I feel like one of the positives that I got from working at those different temp agencies was that I was able to put my hands in different pots in a way, where I was able to work in different roles and to really see where I excelled the most at, and just see the jobs or the roles that I was not comfortable doing. And my first role with Robert Half, which is the temp agency that I started with, was in accounts receivable, and I had no experience in accounting. I did take a course in accounting prior to starting the job, but I honestly did not ever think of going in accounting. But I landed the role in accounts receivable, and just from being there for 3 months, because that's how long the role was, I was like, no, this is not for me. I want to do something else. And then my next role was in accounts payable, and I felt like that was more bearable for me at the time, but I still wasn't satisfied. And one of the perks of working with this company for me was that some of the roles you're able to just be a temp, where you're just at a company for 3, 6, 7 months, or you can also be a temp, and if you really like it there, you could change your status from temp to full-time. One of the things that was really important for me was obviously the money. And the money was good when I was just starting out. My talent scout, they were really good with negotiating my pay for me with these companies. I started out with my first role just with $25 an hour, and then by my third role with them, I was getting $27, $28 an hour, and I was still in college. My junior year, my senior year, I was still working temp jobs with Robert Half. But to me, one of the most important things that I feel like I gained from working with these temp agencies in these different roles was the exposure that I was able to get, because I really went from having little to no technical skills to gaining a lot by the time that I graduated from college, whether it was in Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Dynamics, AX and Nav, Oracle, Microsoft Word, learning how to do mail merges, stuff like that. And these things really, help shape me into the professional that I am today. So if you're feeling stuck or you're just unsure about your professional future, please let this be, I guess, your sign to look into those seasonal or those temp agencies, even if you're not there, forever, because I wasn't there forever, but they will definitely help you, build your resume and get those skills that your future employers will definitely be looking for when they're looking for the next candidates.
Here in the next few months or so, I have to get a fully remote job soon. I just have to. That would be so convenient. So I hope that I can use those temp agencies for that very soon, in the next few weeks or maybe in the next 2 months or so. But
I received a comment yesterday that I cannot find now, so I hope the person that commented this finds this video. But I made a video yesterday about me going back to a 9-to-5 after not working for 11 months, and that I was able to go back into the medical device industry, which is what I wanted to go back into, working from home and keep all of my benefits, all of the perks. And someone asked what my degree was in order to get into medical device, and I wanted to elaborate on that. So my degree is in management information systems, but that is not how I got into the medical device industry. And since I've been on the job search side of TikTok, in which I don't know how I got over there, but I like the information that they give. So maybe because if one video comes up, I usually watch it because I just like to know what's going on around the world. I found my medical device job actually through a temp agency, and I don't see many people talking about it, and it's a really good segue into these Fortune 500 good paying jobs. And I want to elaborate on how I got there. One of the things that is so slept on is going through temp agencies. Even though you have a 90-day contract, they can, for one, keep extending that contract. Two, it's a really good way to get into these Fortune 500 companies. I honestly did not let my temp agency know I was looking for medical device. I just kind of like, when they found me something, it was like, hey, we got something here. And I was just like, okay. And like, it just so happened to be medical device, Fortune 500 company, good benefits, good pay, and all of the above. Now, these companies are really hard to get into because the people that work for these companies do not fucking leave. Like when I tell you I was the youngest person on my team when I started at 23, like I was the youngest person on my team. And there was like 20 something people on my team. I was literally the youngest. Everybody had been there for like 15, 16, 17 years, 20 plus years. And I see why. Like the pay is good, the benefits are good. It just comes with a lot of perks along with travel, because I did get a lot of travel experience, and that is how I actually ended up traveling to Arizona, falling in love with Arizona. And then after I left Arizona, I like wrote out a 1-year plan to move here, and I did it in exactly 1 year and moved here. One thing I wanted to point out when you go through these 90-day contractor positions through temp agency is that those 90 days are like super crucial. Like, especially if you get into like a big Fortune 500 company and you know you're going to want a job within that company. Like, this is where you bust your ass and you put every foot that you got on you forward. Yeah, absolutely. Because whatever manager that you're under for that contracting period is just definitely going to be watching you. And it's how I got into corporate America, like really, really quickly. Like I had a 90-day contract, but within 30 days, my sister, who worked in HR at the time, was looking out for just positions. And she was like, you know, if I see anything that you may want to do, like I'll send it over to you, and like you fill out the job application, and then I was going to interview. And that's exactly what happened. A role opened up that was needing 20 people and I took it. At the time, was it what my degree was in? No. What's even more ironic is that my sister and I both went through the same temp agency, and she landed the job first. Same segue in through IT, doing data entry, and then she found a permanent role in HR, and that's what she does now, HR. Then I came behind her, same temp agency. They had no idea we were sisters. They literally called me for the same company, same role my sister got her foot in the door with. We did the same job. I sat at her same desk. We had the same manager. And then we went into a whole other role that mine didn't have anything to do with my degree. But this is where I say too, just to get your foot in the door, you may have to do a job that has nothing to do with your degree until you can get into a permanent position. And then you make your way into that department or that role that has to do with your degree. And that may have been confusing. So let me clarify. Like, I got into IT, but the permanent position that I acquired still had nothing to do with my degree. But there was a stepping stone. Like, through that role, I was in the same department, and I just moved up until I eventually became a senior analyst, which is what I wanted to do. But before then, I was a coordinator, like for at least 2 of my roles, and then I became an entry-level analyst, and then I became a senior analyst. So that's what I wanted to just like kind of press on, was that like you may not get a role that looks exactly like what your degree is in, but as long as that company has a stepping stone up to that role, still go into a permanent position that will eventually get you to your end goal.
Temp work isn't worth doing. They only last a few days or weeks, even if you put in 100% effort. See, that's the thing. No one owes you anything with temp work. It's just that. It's casual work. You go in, there's an end date, and that's it. Sometimes it might turn out into a permanent opportunity. Sometimes it might not. But it's a good way to network. It's a good way to keep yourself busy if you're in between jobs, or it can help you make ends meet. Plenty of people I know have gotten full-time permanent jobs that started as a temp opportunity. Or they worked in a business and they applied for another job within that business and became full-time. They started as a temp. There's no guarantee of permanent opportunities in temp work. It's a gamble you take, it's a risk you take, but that's why it's casual, and that's why you get paid casual rates as well.
Okay, quick little story time, because I literally cannot believe that this happened. So I was at my local temp agency, and if you don't know what a temp agency is, it's basically a place that you go to get a factory job ASAP, but you're not hired in. The lady that was helping me, she seemed nice until she started to degrade my character and basically implied that she was better than me. I'm the type to ask questions, and I noticed that she had an office job, which is something I've been looking into lately. My simple question to her was, hey, how did you get into this? Did you have prior experience? Did you know a friend of a friend? Did you go to college for it? And she looked at me, y'all, like I was talking French. She looked at me and she was like, we don't offer these kind of jobs here. We only offer factory jobs. I didn't ask you that. That wasn't my question. So then she goes on to saying, she's like, oh, you just want to know in general? And I'm like, yeah, so I can get like a stepping stone. Okay, I noticed that you worked at a daycare before. And just started interview process. Totally disregarded exactly what I was talking about. So in my head, I'm instantly thinking like, I'm thrown off, first of all. But I'm just like, okay, maybe she want to just talk about it later. She want to finish this interview first and I bring it up later. But then this lady, I kid you not, she literally looked at me and said, I've always told myself that my last resort would be a factory. I'll never work in a factory. I can't relate. Why would you say that to somebody who is at a temp agency trying to get a factory job? Don't you think this was my last resort? Do I look like I want to work in a factory? Like, come on now. Clearly, if I'm asking you about office job opportunities, then you know this isn't what I want to do long term. This lady was clearly trying to act like she was top of the earth and it was a secret formula, a secret sauce, and she couldn't let me know because I'm here right now getting a factory job, so I don't deserve to know how to get an office job. Crazy thing is, she was trying to make it seem like factories are just so bad. They're not terrible. There's literally people out here that go to college for manufacturing, and that's kind of the stuff that they want to do. And I don't want to put color into it, but y'all know exactly what color she was. It is, I should have humbled her real fast and been like, as fast as you got it is as fast as you can lose it, ma'am. Let me call the CEO up real quick and ask them if they know that you're talking to your customers like this, that you're supposed to be helping these people get factory jobs, and you're degrading their character and making it seem like that factory jobs are scum of the earth. Let me call the CEO up and let them know that this is the way that you do customer service. This is the way that you represent your company. Like, you can lose it like this, girl. You can lose it like this.
I went to a temp agency yesterday and she practically laughed in my face. Let me tell you what happened. My son has been looking for work. He got contacted by this temp agency that's around the corner from our house, and they had some job posting for him that he could go and do. So he said, hey, can you give me a ride? I need to go over there and do paperwork or whatever. So I took him over there for that. And I figured, hey, while I'm here, what do I have to lose? I might as well see what else they got. Now, I have no knowledge of this temp agency or what kind of clients they have or what kind of work they serve. I was completely just going in blind. So I walked in, I explained to the lady what happened. She asked me to fill out an application there in the office, which I did, uploaded my resume. When I was done with all that, she brought me back to the desk and started asking me questions about like my income and where I was at. And as I'm telling her these things, her eyes just kept getting bigger. And when I was done, she said, why are you here? And I get why she's asking, but obviously I'm here because I need income. Like, what do you guys do? What are your options? Like, what do you have, you know? And so, she essentially was like, we would never have anything in this office that would apply to you, which, okay, that's fine. I didn't know that. And, you know, she doesn't know me. So, you know, no harm, no foul. But it was just kind of weird how, you know, if you put an application in somewhere and they come back and say you're overqualified, like, I get it. They don't want to spend the money to hire somebody that has a flight risk because they might get bored or they might, you know, continue looking for another job elsewhere, and then they got to go through that process again. But people who are applying because they need the money. They need the job. So it's like, why do you want to work at this company? I don't know, because of a paycheck? I mean, yeah, you might have a great culture. You might have good benefits. You might have a good reputation. But let's be honest here. We all need money to survive. So I don't know. It was just a really weird experience. But for those of you suggesting if I could temp, yep, I can. And I'm open to it. And I tried. But I think in my line of work and what is worth it for me to do, you know, again, survival mode. I'm not quite to the point where I will take just anything. I'll take a pay cut, but I still need to be able to pay my basic expenses. And so, yeah, so I tried that. I'm wondering if anybody else had an experience like that, or if y'all have any other suggestions. Like, I'm not above doing things completely out of my norm. You know, I'm not above like cleaning houses or whatever, but it does need to be lucrative enough for me to pay at least my basic expenses. You know, those things that I can't get out of, like my car payment, like that's a contract, you know. Can it be broken? Sure. But, you know, I'm trying to also avoid more damage. So anyway, that's the update to my experience with temp agencies. If you have an experience to share, let me know below.
All right, so this one is for anybody who's ever done temp staffing or has been a temp or has dealt with temporary hiring. Much like literally anything else, when you hire a temp and you onboard a temp, it is never straightforward. One of my jobs, what I did is I worked between my company and the staffing agencies to procure the temp labor and make sure everybody showed up where they needed to and on time. So we were hiring a bunch of customer service people to work in our facility that had some really expensive pharmaceuticals on site. So we had to be cautious of who we let in the building or not, right? And make sure everybody knew who was supposed to be there and at what time. However, the building was tricky is it had a downstairs entrance that you couldn't even get into the building, that you then had to go through to even get into the lobby. In temp staffing, the name of the game is the telephone game. So, you know, the company tells the temp agency tells the candidate of where they should be and what time. And you can imagine how that might get messed up. Every now and then we'd have like somebody show up when they shouldn't be, and I'd have to like track their agency down. But the security guard would make these people stand literally outside the building by a busy road. So this one day we had a huge class starting. I'm talking like 20, 30 people. And I don't know what happened, but the security team over at this building did not know that these people were showing up. And so it was cold, it was snowing, and it was by a busy, icy road. And I emailed the security guard. I'm like, here's the list. Everybody's background is done. Everybody's ready to go in. That dude made every single person stand outside. And in the next 5 minutes, my phone was blowing up with all of these agency people like, my people want in the building, blah, blah, blah. No amount of emails for me. My boss, I had to email that their boss would not let this dude in the building until I literally drove across town. And only then could we have these 20 people in the building. Never underestimate the power struggle between a security guard and the HR lady.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.